Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Fox98 here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 My Team career mode for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for part number 3, which is the Vietnam Grand Prix. So the first time that we're going to be exploring the new racetracks on the calendar, starting things off around the streets of Hanoi for the Vietnam Grand Prix. And as you can see, we're going ahead and making some more work on the aerodynamics, as I genuinely feel that is the part of the car which is seriously letting me down a lot. The powertrain and the chassis are kind of mid-table. They're not too bad, actually, but the aero is way down there, and we need to sort that out. But if you guys end up enjoying today's episode, feel free to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, as we try and push towards 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And this will be the last time that you'll see 2 episodes of My Team for the day, and obviously as well, like I think this will be the 3rd video uploaded today. Yeah, that won't happen. It'll go back to like 1 and then, you know, a double upload here or there, or, you know, whatever. Today, obviously, as it's celebrating the official launch of F1 2020 for the entire world, I thought I'd, you know, give you guys plenty of content. And as you can see then, coming out of practice, not too bad actually. We got quite a few resource points in there, and we've now gone up to Team Acclaim level 5 now, which is very good. Mr. Jack Aitken there at level 5, I believe he is, and I'm obviously at level 3. So together we're not doing too bad, but here we are then for qualifying for the Hanoi Grand Prix, or the Vietnam Grand Prix, whatever you want to call it. And there are some nice shots in there actually, showcasing the track itself as we get ready to enhance ourselves around the streets here. And my initial impressions, this track is very hard to drive. I don't know what it is, but the final sector is very difficult, and the curbs as well. Most of them are really high. You really can't attack the curbs too much, and as much as there's so many of them where you really are just like invited into attacking the curb, you just can't, because the curbs are really high. I'll be honest with you guys, I mean, obviously I need to take some time to learn the circuit a bit more. I'll probably drive it in not my car, maybe do multiple laps in the Mercedes or Ferrari or something like that. But it just didn't feel very nice to drive. But obviously, as time goes on, that can change. It's very difficult. It's reminiscent of Azerbaijan in a way in terms of that. But in fairness, this final sector, if you can really hook it up, it's a hell of a lot of fun. But unfortunately, I don't quite have the car to do that here. But we're a couple of tenths up on our previous best lap. We're currently in P21 at the moment, so we're going to try and see if this can get us out of Q1 and get into Q2, just like we did in the last race in Bahrain. Round the final corner now, we need to beat a 136.5 to get ourselves in towards Q2, and I believe we are just gonna miss out. Okay, not just miss out, we actually qualified in P19, so it wasn't really just missing out. We were quite far off of it then, so unfortunately, it's a Q1 knockout for us today here. Bottas fastest in Q1, of course, that is just Q1, and things are about to change. We're going to have a look at the grid now and pretty much just see where everybody lined up here. So Jack Aitken actually got through into Q2, so my teammate makes it through. We, on the other hand, were 0.2 of a second off the time to get into Q2. Ocon making it through. So full credit to my teammate Aitken, who makes it into the second part of qualifying.
Welcome along to the Vietnamese capital of Hanoi, a vibrant city built on the banks of the magnificent Red River. Today it's the backdrop for the latest round of the Formula One World Championship, with a circuit specifically designed to encourage overtaking opportunities. I think we could be in for a cracking race today. A lap of Hanoi circuit then, 3.4 miles around the Vietnamese capital. A number of the 23 corners take their inspiration from other great circuits, hopefully creating plenty of passing opportunities. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Hamilton, Alexander Albon, and Verstappen, Norris, Sainz, Stroll, and Sergio Perez, Ocon, Raikkonen, Roman Grosjean, and Giovinazzi, Aitken, Kvyat, Pierre Gasly, and Daniel Ricciardo. Thomas, Magnussen, Latifi, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Alright, so we're now on the grid here to start the Vietnam Grand Prix. And just like in Bahrain, it's going to be a one-stop strategy, but it's going to be from the soft tyres to the hard compound tyres. So nice and straightforward for us. It's a very, very simple strategy. We can work with that and really get cracking then. So as you can see then, on the grid to start this Grand Prix off, we've got 4, now 5 red lights, and it is lights out. We go in to start the Vietnam Grand Prix. It's been a good start all round for most of the drivers. For us as well, it's a very decent start there. You can see instantly going towards the inside line there is Giovinazzi, tags the back of his teammate Raikkonen there in towards the first corner. Giovinazzi, I think, took some front wing damage from that as Bottas tries to overtake one of the Ferrari cars. We, meanwhile, are trying to overtake Kimi Raikkonen around the outside. We're going to switch that to the inside line then as it tightens up into the corner. Raikkonen turns in on us a little bit there, but we get the overtake done on the Kimster, and now we can press onwards here. We've got Ocon, Perez, and Stroll all fighting up ahead now as we blast our way down the straight in towards what is a very difficult chicane coming up next. Very hard to spot the braking zone, very hard to get the corner right, as the curbs are very, very deadly here, as we now try to find our way past Esteban Ocon. Now this swooping left-hander, which you can just hug the inside line and just attack the AIs and catch them unawares, and that's exactly what we do. Up into 12th place already, that's 7 positions already gained on the opening lap alone, and we haven't even finished the entirety of the lap yet, so a cracking start from us already to get things going for this Grand Prix. But of course, as things settle down, we'll soon find out where we are. But whilst things are still manic and hectic, we've got Giovinazzi versus Sainz versus Perez versus Stroll all going into the same corner. Giovinazzi, of course, took that front wing damage early in the Grand Prix, so he's going to be under pressure from the rest of the field, and he might have to stop us. We're now going to go for a run on Lance Stroll, now going in towards the middle and the final sector here. We don't go for it on Stroll initially. We're going to get the switchback though, and go for it now on Stroll via some switchback, and we love that name, and we get past Lance Stroll in towards the final sector where it flies on through. Now we've got Giovinazzi struggling here with that front wing damage. Perez now is trying to find his way through. I'm trying to find my way on Sergio Perez, but Giovinazzi dives into the pits to get rid of that front wing as we get very close to the back of Sergio Perez there. But luckily, no damage done on either side, and we can crack on our way. Perez then is in P9. We're up into 10th place after the first lap. That's 9 positions gained. On to lap 3 of the Grand Prix now. Somewhere or another, I couldn't catch it, but Verstappen had a problem, and he's now dropped back behind Sergio Perez. So Verstappen under pressure now from the racing point, and he's going to be under pressure for myself as well, because we're both going to get DRS on him as we fling now down the straight here. I think we get DRS anyway. Yeah, we do. So Verstappen is going to be a sitting duck here. Perez doesn't seem to know where to go, left or right, but so we're going to go to the right hand side of the circuit, make it 3 wide then in towards this hairpin. This is going to be so tight as we're going to swoop very long around the outside there. I actually heard contact in my headphones when I was racing there, so looking at that replay, I never actually made contact with anyone. That's why I went wide and pretty much off the circuit, because I thought I'd made contact, but clearly not. Never mind, it's all good. We're up into 8th place now, and Verstappen has down to P9. Also, in fact, he was down in P10, but Sergio Perez is losing out a lot of time there as we go very wide in the last corner, and Verstappen will take full advantage of that as we now go into the last corner. So the second to last corner is where we went wide. Verstappen now getting a good exit there, and he's going to have the DRS on the start-finish straight. We're going to try and shove him a little bit wide here in towards first corner. He's having none of that though. A little bit of contact made. That's my fault. I thought Verstappen though, however, would be a little bit phased by that, but he gets a much better run through turn 1 as we're now trying to attack Verstappen now, going and hugging the inside line as much as we possibly can. But I missed my braking point there as I was trying to concentrate on just hugging the inside line, and unfortunately I've lost the position to Verstappen, but he is in a Red Bull, so what can I say? It's him in a Red Bull versus me in Force Korea. Eventually we'll get there, but for now we're not there. Now on to lap 9 of the Grand Prix here. And we've got a yellow flag actually for something behind there. It looks like one of the Renault cars has got a problem. It's going to be Esteban Ocon who is out of the Vietnam Grand Prix. And let's have a look then. So as he's attacking Albon, oh, it's the same problem as what we had with Bottas in Bahrain, but this is completely different. So he's opened up the DRS, and we're going to rewind this and have another look here. So on board, you can see here that he's opened the DRS, and then he's going to go for a very quick dive. Yeah. That's a very interesting one. I've seen a lot of other content creators have this same thing where the AI is just basically lose it under DRS, which is very, very unusual. But yeah, Ocon then is out of the Grand Prix. For us though, we are now under pressure from Alexander Albon, who pitted earlier to go onto a set of the soft tyres and do a two-stop strategy in this Grand Prix. Albon flies past us there. Unfortunately, I just don't have the pace to beat Albon. At the end of the day, like I said with Verstappen, he's in a Red Bull, and B, he's in a Red Bull with soft tyres, which are fresh. So yeah, what do you expect? And look at that there, that's very interesting. Albon just losing the back end then on the exit of the corner. So yeah, I like these AI mistakes. They're really coming into play now, and that's actually going to help us a lot here because we're going to just completely fly back past Albon here. We've got the power unit in the back of this car. We've also got Rich Mixture and the DRS, and we breeze back past the Red Bull car there. So despite the fact that we're not the best car on the grid, we've definitely got a very, very strong power unit behind us, and that's definitely one of the reasons for our early success so far this season. Is now we are back past Alexander Albon. Eventually he's going to repass me again, but the satisfaction is there for us, and that's all we need to take from it as we now go in towards the final sector here. A little bit wide on the exit. Albon quite fancies that, but Albon losing the back end of the car. I'm losing the back end of the car. All of us are losing the back end of our cars right now as we fly through in towards the final sector now. Albon trying to find a way past it. He's actually got so much more grip in that Red Bull car, and he goes around the outside there, and that's a super easy move for Alexander Albon. And with that being said and done, I'm pulling off into the pits and getting off these soft tyres. Unfortunately, they just weren't working out at this stage of the Grand Prix. They'd gone way past their best, and we needed to get off them basically. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And Alexander Albon does eventually get the overtake done, and of course he managed to go around the outside, and actually it's made it actually work for him, because not every other time it really doesn't. Lewis. Anyway, we're coming in now and getting off of these soft tyres, and we're going to a fresh set of the hard compound tyres, and we're going to take these to the end of the Grand Prix and see a lot of cars on the start-finish straight here. But what's crucial about the pit exit is you get a little bit of an advantage compared to your rivals. So we can cut all of that, and we only rejoin behind Sergio Perez in the racing point. But crucially enough, a lot of the drivers around me are doing the two-stop strategy. Raikkonen, who came in, who's in front, 3.2 seconds clear, is on a fresh set of hard compound tyres like myself. Perez is on the soft tyres, Gasly's on softs, Giovinazzi is on medium compound tyres. There's a lot of cars here that are doing something different in this Grand Prix, which is good to see in this Grand Prix. But we've now got our first safety car of this My Team career mode here, because Lance Stroll has retired from this Grand Prix, and that is a big shock there for the Racing Point car. Unfortunately, his car disappeared before I got a chance to catch a replay of it, and I think he must have crashed on his own, the same as Esteban Ocon. But for us now, we're going to be now on lap 15 of this Grand Prix. The safety car is going to be coming in. I think we've got 14 laps to go now. It will be 13 as we cross the start-finish line. And yeah, we're currently in P10 at the moment, and now most of the grids have now come in and stopped for a set of hard tyres to go back onto our strategy. So our strategy was the right call, but annoyingly the safety car has sort of neutralised our strategy plans here, as we're now going to get back racing again. A little bit wide on the exit of the last corner there, not quite getting that up to scratch now as Pierre Gasly goes for the attack. Crucially, both AlphaTauris did not stop for a second under the safety car, so they're going to resume racing on their soft compound tyres, which means me on my hard compound tyres, they're going to be absolutely rapid, and it's going to be very difficult to hold them back now. As we go in towards the end of the first sector now, you can see here we've got Pierre Gasly on the back of us now. As you can see, Pierre is going to get a great run down the straight. We've got the ERS enabled now to try and defend against Pierre Gasly. We switch it off though halfway through to try and conserve some of the battery. I know we've got 80%, but I really need to use it in better places than that. And we managed to fend off against Gasly quite comfortably actually in that scenario. But now we're going to have to go onto this long back straight here, and this is where we get a back end that steps out a little bit there. It's a corner that really can catch you out. And as we now go onto the straight here, you can see here Gasly is doing everything he can to close onto the back of us, but as long as we're using that ERS boost, it's really giving us a helping hand. But I can't use it for absolutely ever, because of course I want to make sure that I'm maintaining my defensive posture in other elements of the track and also on other laps as we go down the inside of Gasly and defend the position again against the Frenchman now. And Danny Kvyat is behind him, so both AlphaTauris need to stop again in this Grand Prix, and it depends on basically what other drivers behind me need to stop again. At the moment, we're good enough to score 1 point, but it depends who needs to stop. And if that is the case, if it's just the AlphaTauris, we could be in for a very difficult last 11 laps to score any points today. But for the time being, we are in the points and we're going to fight for it. So as we go now onto the straight here, Gasly's got the DRS this time around. So this might just give Gasly that run that he really does need. Though for some reason, I think he closed his DRS there in towards the hairpin. But he gets a great run under braking versus ourselves. But we can swoop around the outside, get better traction through there. And we maintain position against Gasly. Gasly now on lap 18 of the Grand Prix has pitted for a second time. Also, Carlos Sainz has pitted in the McLaren. So that does mean now we are currently in P9 in this Grand Prix, which is sensational stuff right now for the Koreans. But of course, we've now got Danny Kvyat here in the Russian, trying to go in the AlphaTauri, who is Russian, trying to dive it down the inside here. But unfortunately, I have got countermeasures and flare guns and whatever else you do to counter a dive bomb, I guess, and stop that move by going around the outside and swooping back past Danny Kvyat. And we maintain our position. Lap 19 of the Grand Prix, Kvyat has pitted. That challenge is over. Next challenge is Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault. So it's like, literally, which driver wants to attack me next before they stop? And it's Ricciardo next. He gets a fantastic run on the DRS zone here and in towards this chicane. Actually brake very, very late here. Just about make the track limits there. But we managed to defend the position against Daniel Ricciardo. I don't want to do that too much because, of course, there are drivers behind me and they're not in my DRS zone. So crucially, if they're in the DRS zone of me, I should just be okay to defend, but it'll be very, very tricky. If they're just outside of the DRS zone, I feel like I've got enough pace in the first and second sector to hold on. In the final sector, I am genuinely dreadful. Like, the AIs are so much faster as Ricciardo now goes for it up the inside here, in towards the hairpin, but we're going to do exactly what we've done all race long. Swoop around the outside, get the better exit on traction, a little bit of a back end slide there, but it's all good in the hood. And Ricciardo now, he's still holding on in there though, is Danny Rick, but we're eventually just going to close his line off and defend the inside line, and we take the position and stay in front of Daniel Ricciardo for the time being. But of course, until we find out when he's actually coming in for his stop, which could be very, very soon, considering it is lap 19 in the Grand Prix. So I presume then he'll go onto the soft tyres as we now press onwards here. Ricciardo, though, actually stays out for another lap. So Ricciardo then is looking to try and extend his stint as long as he can and pit for another set of soft tyres as we now go through the second to last corner and the last corner. Again, you can see not really confident through there as Ricciardo now is going to take full advantage of that, and he's going to go through around the outside, but we're going to dive it down the inside here and go very, very late on the brakes there, and we make the move stick on Daniel Ricciardo. I got a warning for a collision. We did make a little bit of contact, but at the end of the day, it's wheels wheel racing. We're going to do better. And now let's go on to lap 20 of the Grand Prix here. Daniel Ricciardo is once again going to be a thorn in my side because he's going to have the DRS very, very shortly. But the problem is not Daniel Ricciardo. It's going to be the man behind him, Giovinazzi, who breezes his way past Daniel Ricciardo. Now he's going to try and breeze his way past ourselves. He's got tremendous closing speed, has Giovinazzi. This time, we'll defend the inside line into the hairpin, not the outside line, because we can just shove him wide and take a proper racing line through there. And that is Giovinazzi defended with. Lap 22 of the Grand Prix now. Giovinazzi and Ricciardo have both stopped now for a second time in this Grand Prix. And someone else that stopped for a second time was Carlos Sainz. He pitted for a set of the medium compound tyres. And of course, you can see now he's right onto the back of us here. And here goes Carlos Sainz now in the McLaren. I decided not to fight this one. What's the point? He's in a McLaren car, which is faster than mine. He's on fresh medium compound tyres. There's no need. Crucially though, you can see on the leaderboards there, Jack Aitken, my teammate, is in the top 10. So at the moment, both Force careers are in the points as it stands. And I say as it stands because things are subject to change. E.g. now. Lap 28 of the Grand Prix then. Charles Leclerc has won the first Vietnam Grand Prix. But crucially for us here, we've actually managed to hold on for our strategy here. Our strategy paid off. Aitken, unfortunately, is dropping down the order as the other the guys that have pitted for a second time try and attack here. But crucially for us, we made the one-stop strategy work again and again. Down to race strategy, we pull off a great result. It's going to be a P9 in the Vietnam Grand Prix, and that is 2 crucial Formula 1 World Championship points coming to Force Korea. And overall, I would say that that is the team's best overall race so far. Because for me, Jack Aitken, he got into Q2, which was fantastic, and B, even though that Jack Aitken failed to score any points, he was in the points and fighting against Kevin Magnussen. I think he might have taken some front wing damage off of K-Mag actually in the end, but they were both fighting very, very hard, and yeah, he was in the points for quite some time. And my initial plan, or my plan was that Jack Aitken gets in front of Magnussen. I thought then he would catch me up, I'd let Jack Aitken through. I'd then fend off Magnussen and go gloves off to make sure that we got a double points finish. But unfortunately, every time that Jack Aitken got past Kevin Magnussen, he couldn't get anywhere close to me. Even in the parts where I was super weak, which was the final sector, I was really poor through there. But Jack just didn't get close. So unfortunately, I couldn't just let Jack through at that point because I would at risk of losing the position to Magnussen instantaneously. So in that circumstance, I just had to carry on. And yeah, that's exactly what we did. But as you can see, it is a Ferrari 1-2, which is completely unrealistic to real life. But, you know, that's the F1 game for you pre-patch. And as you can see then, it is a Ferrari 1-2 ahead of a Mercedes 3-4, Red Bull 5-6, Sainz in 7th, Raikkonen in 8th, myself finishing in P9 ahead of Magnussen in P10. In fact, I finished in P9 starting 19th, and Magnussen finished P10 starting P20. So, yeah, shout out to us two for being amazing. I did the one stop though, Magnussen making a 2-stop work. Drivers' Championship was 7th in the championship on 17 points. Both the Red Bulls have overtaken me, shock horror. And I presume at some point the McLarens and probably the Renaults will overtake me as well soon. Of course, we'll just make an advantage of our good start. Constructors' Championship, we're currently in 4th in the championship in front of Alfa Romeo, Renault and McLaren. But again, I expect us to lose out to a few of those drivers in the near future. So I wouldn't be too satisfied about that because obviously, you know, drivers have had DNFs and bad results, so we need to bear that in mind, especially as we move forward.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We gained a lot of positions on track, and that was very much due to my power unit being an absolute god and a nightmare to contain for other drivers.
You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
I mean, my secret is kind of simple. I have a great team and a great car. False career for the
You
win.
left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip, or did you just...
No, I actually went to B&Q and I couldn't find any right paint, so I threw it on the walls instead. And now you want to talk to me about dodgems? If you want to talk about high-class warfare, go and see my army that is waiting for me at the homeland of North Korea. And then we'll see what's going on, Claire. So scoot your boot, goodbye, that's it, take your little cameraman with you, and get lost. Now, as you can see here, we're going over to the team Acclaim. We actually ranked up again to level 6. We're now level 3 on our Acclaim, and Aitken is level 6. We once again achieved the team goal for overtaking 5 drivers in one Grand Prix race. It's a very easy goal, so we're pretty much guaranteed 100k extra per race, which is crucial for us in terms of building the finance up to upgrade our facilities, which is what we really need to be doing. And at the end, not at this episode, but at the start of next episode, we are going to be able to make our first upgrade to our team facility, which you'll be able to see. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this episode of my F1 My Team Career Mode. If you guys have enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And I will see you guys next time, where we'll be going over to Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix. Take care all. Peace.